So let's talk about the technique thing. Building technique on an instrument is a lot like lifting weights for a wrestler to train for competition. It's kind of a separate thing that you need to work on so that you can play music with ease. And if you're not working on technique separately, then you have to figure it out as you're working on music, and that can be really difficult. With a wrestler, you might have weightlifting categories like leg day or cardio or like bicep, all those different muscle groups. And with brass playing, you're gonna have your long tones, your lip slurs, range, flexibility, articulation, intonation, maybe buzzing, and scales. For most people, there's probably about 7 to 10 categories of things that they need to hit every single day if they really want to achieve the results. It can be so overwhelming that sometimes you're like, I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to attach my own fundamental packet so you can just kind of get an idea of how to structure working on all the different skills and categories. And then today, I just want to focus on the basic pillar brass playing, which is how do you get the vibration in your lips to come out as the most beautiful sound. We like to call that flow, just the airflow, the whole process, the whole system at work. There are 2 really good ways to work on this. First way being buzzing, and then the second way is doing really basic melodic patterns on your instrument without articulation, just with air, just focusing on airflow and getting immediate response. The first exercise I do with buzzing is do some sirens up and down the range of your general instrument, just to get the response here and hear the connectivity of the whole range. Make sure that when you go up in the range and go down the range, that the tone quality is consistent and that you're not having to do anything weird to get up there. Nothing really changes to get up there because it's the air that's getting you up there. Try to use a mirror when you buzz and just check what's going on. Make sure you're not blowing the airstream too downwards or that you're not pulling the corners up and back a lot. Like smiley embouchure, that's a bad sign too because you're just overworking. Or one other thing I often see is just no structure happening and there's really no anchor. And if there's no anchor, there's no structure to get the lips to vibrate in the center. Kind of like a rubber band, if you pull on it, then the center, when you put a finger on it, it kind of vibrates. You have to have it taut first in order for the center of the rubber band to vibrate. And it's the same thing with the embouchure. The center, if you can see, should be really soft and squishy. It lets the air through. It's like gates. And then the anchors, I like to call them, provide the stability to let the center vibrate. What you should be focused on when you're buzzing is having structure and having an anchor that doesn't really move between the partials because it's just there. It's just anchored down. And then the second thing is just blowing the air straight through the mouthpiece, not up, not down, but just straight through. If you focus on those 2 things, you're going to get a really efficient buzz. Okay, so with all that in mind, here's an exercise I do every single day to apply those concepts. That exercise is called Beautiful Sounds. It was developed by Arnold Jacobs as a melodious pattern. 1, 2, 1, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 8, 9, 8, 7, 8, 6, 5, 3, 1. Sorry, I had to think about that a lot. That I do in the mouthpiece in every key and on the horn with a drone, first of all, and with no articulation, so that I'm purely focused on the sound I'm producing and matching pitch. And that's really important to practice, is that you're matching the pitch of the starting tone, your home bass, and that with each interval, you're hearing the right amount of dissonance between the pitches. One thing I like to do is sync through it first and just get the pitches in my ear, and then go on the mouthpiece, and you have to try to emulate that as best as possible. I do it in every key so that I'm practicing buzzing in every range and that there are no deficiencies in my range for buzzing, even as we get down to the pedal range. So that second category that I mentioned at the beginning of the video is the concept of flow, which is just how easily your air can maneuver through the instrument with ease. So we can use the same exercise, the beautiful sounds exercise, and play it on the horn to see if you can achieve that same effortlessness throughout the range. A few things to keep in mind in the horn are that you're going to want to play louder than you need to. Just use enough air to get the note to vibrate really in the sweet spot. Don't feel like you need to overblow. You're still going to use the drone so you can check each pitch is in tune. And you're still going to use no articulation and just rely completely on the air to get through the pattern. If you notice, I'm not really playing in a particular tempo because I just change the note when I hear it lock in tune. And I'm really listening to the pitch way more than I'm just going through the motion. You got to make sure that it locks in and that you hear it resonate, and then you can move on and check every pitch. And that's how you're really working on intonation. So that's the exercise, Beautiful Sounds. It is such a great exercise because it works on all these different skills of just basic sound production, intonation, getting around the horn with ease. And those skills are like the basic foundation of brass playing that will improve anything you're playing. So try it out, use a drone, don't articulate, just focus on the resonance and producing your easiest, best sound. And then just one more thing I want to talk about. It's just about setting goals for your practice. You got to have goals for your practice because you can't just go in and practice for the sake of practicing. You have to have a destination point and you have to think about how are you going to get there. So there's probably a piece that you want to play or performance you have to prepare for, and you got to break down how to get there. Have a handy dandy practice journal where you can write out your goals with like check boxes, and then what are you going to do? What are you going to practice? And write it down before you get in the practice room so you have a plan. Once you have that plan, you can write down what works, what doesn't work, music falling off, what you're proud about your playing, what you still need to improve. But this just keeps an accountability log so that then you can look back on your practice journal and just keep refining it. The art of practicing is a skill in itself, and you have to learn how to practice. And as someone who's been doing it for 12 plus years, it's a constant piece of work. Unless you write it down, you're going to have no idea what happened probably, unless you have a photographic memory. But most people don't. So just write it down and plan it out before you get in the practice room so that in the practice room, you can go in full throttle mode and you're not wondering what to practice, but just how to make it better. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to email me at my name, lauren.casey-clyde@gmail.com. I'm more than happy to answer any questions or give you more help or a short online lesson or whatever you need. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you're staying busy in quarantine.